Hello. Thank you very much for coming out tonight. I appreciate it. If you notice, I have my Gryffindor colors on. Red and gold. Yes, yes. I hear cheers. I hear a lot of silence too. For those of you that went to private school, that's a Harry Potter joke. I know you're thinking we only read Narnia, but public school we kick it Harry Potter style, so I'm gonna go watch a Quidditch match later. Yeah, public school people, fill them in. It's good stuff, it's not evil. Anyway, I am a product of the public school system, and one of the inevitable truths of that is that at some point or another, you will be placed under the authority of someone who has absolutely no business being with kids. Yes, you know the teacher that made your life terrible. And one of the greatest instances I have of this was from middle school. Don't we wish we could block middle school out of our memories? Your body, your voice is changing, you start to stink when you sweat, and you don't know this for like 6 months, but by the time you figure out you have to wear deodorant, nobody talks to you because you're the smelly kid. You're laughing at me, not with me, so apparently that's just my experience. But that was middle school. And one of the experiences that I had in middle school was on the 7th grade B team basketball. And 7th grade B team means don't try out next year. We just let you on here because we're nice. And we were up 25 points at halftime once. Like, we are creaming them. We come into the locker room feeling really good about ourselves. Coach sits us down and says, that was terrible. I was in for the halftime speech of my life. He proceeds to tell us that we're not playing hard enough. That we need to be leaving everything we have out on the court. And if you aren't doing that, well, everything you've got amounts to nothing. If you aren't playing with everything you have, pee on that. He proceeds to let us know why this is, to demonstrate how severe this is. He says, I could have a $500 watch. Takes his $500 watch off, throws it on the ground, and says, if I'm not playing with pride, pee on that. Whips out his wallet, says, $10,000 credit card. If I'm not playing with pride, pee on that. This is starting to get scary because we can see where this is going. He takes off his shirt, says, $60 shirt. If I'm not playing with everything I've got, pee on that. The pile is getting bigger. He kicks off his shoes, and then he goes for the pants. And sure enough, he drops them. He says, $50 pants, pee on that. We are looking at a 250-pound man in his whitey-tighties. He says, if I see an uncontested layup in the second half, you will not make the team next year. I guarantee it. This is a very serious threat. We're B-teamers. We don't want to be kicked off. And so we go out, and sometime in the third quarter, I will never forget it. My buddy Ben Lampkins, guy on the other team, gets off on a fast break. He's going to score, but he remembers no uncontested layups. Chases the guy down from behind, doesn't have time to get in front of him before he makes the shot. He jumps out and tackles the guy on the court. The kid's head hits the ground and everybody goes, oh. And in that moment, our parents are wondering how our tax dollars paid for that. And you would think that's as bad as it gets, but 7th grade football was worse. We had a coach that hated us. He hated us, he hated kids, we hated him. And it was just a wonderful time every day after school when we just wanted to go home. And we had a tradition called the B game, which is where kids that don't normally play get to play the other school's kids that don't normally play. B game. In football, I was not a B-teamer, I was an A-teamer. And so I'm enjoying my time as everybody else gets ready for the B game, and John Mitchell approaches Coach. Chemically imbalanced coach. And he says, Coach, I can't find my cleats. That was all it took to set him off. I was in for another speech that I would never forget. He said, sit down! Began to let us know that we were ignorant. How do you not know where your cleats are? You're gonna play football. He goes over to the lost and found locker, which is everything that's found on the floor at the end of the day. And he says, you know, we've got cleats in here, and socks, and knee pads, and shoulder pads. He reaches in, pulls out shoulder pads, throws them across the locker room, almost hits us. It's getting scary. We don't know what he's gonna pull out next. He reaches in and grabs the holy grail of lost football equipment. A helmet? I don't know that you can play football without a helmet, but apparently some kid on my team had figured it out. And it was in the lost and found locker. He launches it across the room. It knocks off the lockers above our heads, ricochets against one of those giant circular fans that you use to cool off the gym, knocks it over, and we hear goom, 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 goom. He does not like this. Runs over and with a giant groan, ah! Drop kicks the fan. We hear goose, 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 goose. He says, "Get on the bus!" We run, and on the way over to that junior high, I gave my life to the Lord Jesus Christ because I did not want my coach to be in hell waiting for me. I had a year to let things cool off. Gets to 8th grade, he's no longer my football coach. He's now my art teacher. Chemically imbalanced football coach, art teacher. Bad combination, but it was my life. And so I had a question one day, and something I forgot to mention is that this was the hairiest man you've ever met. I mean, Sasquatch would be jealous of what this guy had going on, and he knew it. He would unbutton his shirts down to about here, and he would fluff it. It was rumored that he had a little pick that he kept in his desk to make sure the hair was out there. I have a question about perspective one day. Raise my hand and ask Coach to come over and help me. He comes over to my desk, leans over, and the hair is right in my face. I don't know what happened, but there was a moment of complete disconnect between my head and my hand. Without knowing it, I find my pencil going up, unguided, and I begin to twirl. Our eyes meet. After about a second, we both realize what's happening. My hand is slammed down, and he says, "Get out!" And that's what I gotta do right now. Thanks for listening to me, guys. I appreciate it.